Hey, what's up guys, it's Bakes and I'm finally back with another episode of my Tracklist Rankings. Yes, it's been a very long time since I last did an episode in this series, as well as my random album reviews, but I have finally made a return to them. It was forever since I did my last episodes. I think it was September last year, but I'm finally getting the energy back to go around and start these series up again. So today's episode, we have an album, a debut album by the band Spiritbox, being Eternal Blue. Now, if you forget, or this is your first time with this series, this is where I grab an album and I rank the whole album's track list from my least favourite to favourite song here. If you want to know my thoughts on this album as a whole, I have also done a random album review of this album, so go check that out, as I said, if you want to know my thoughts on this album as a complete effort. The long short of it is that this is a very popular modern album. A lot of people seem to really enjoy this one, and don't get me wrong, I do like it. I just don't think as much as everyone else. I feel like the first half of this album is really strong. Towards the back, it starts to get a little bit inconsistent, but by all means, not a bad album, just maybe not quite my thing. But either way, as I said, we're going to be breaking down each track here, ranking it from my least favourite song to my favourite song on the album. So without delaying any longer, let's get into this list. So this is a track list of 12 songs, and coming in at my number 12 is track 6, Silk in the Strings. Now, if you have seen my random album review of this, I spoke about how the first 5 songs on this album are really solid, but once we get to track 6, which happens to be Silk in the Strings, that's where the decline starts to happen and the songs start to get a little bit less consistent for myself. For me, there is no real connection to this song, even though I have it in my last position. I wouldn't say I hate the song either. To me, it's very forgettable. It's not one that I come back to too often, so I'm going to keep this one short and sharp. My last place here is track number 6, Silk in the Strings. Now, coming in at my number 11 is actually the closing track on the album, being Constance. Now, you'll probably start to piece together as this video goes on. I like a good balance between the clean and heavy vocals done by lead vocalist Courtney LaPlante. I feel like she does a very good job of balancing them, and the previous track that I just had, Silk in the Strings, is definitely a heavier track on this album. Now we're going to Constance, which is a bit more stripped back. It's not like a soft song by all means, but it's a bit more melodic. However, still, this song again is a little bit forgettable for myself. I don't often come back to it, and a little bit boring, I might say. As I said, I don't hate this song by all means, just a little bit forgettable, and there's definitely better songs on this album. However, I guess it's a nice pace to close the album at. So coming in at my number 11 is the closing track, Constance. So now fans of the band are going to be pretty mad at me for this pick, but coming in at my number 10 is Holy Roller, which is definitely a fan favourite song, and in ways I can see why. It's definitely a lot of fun, it has a lot of personality, and that could just be put down to the fact that it is a fan favourite, but, you know, it does have this fun funk, and I'll give it credit for that. But however, this song is a little bit maybe overrated for myself. I mean, it's fine by all means. Again, not a bad song. I obviously like it above 2 others, but again, there's nothing there that really has me coming back too much. The chorus is fun, it has its moments, but at the end of the day, not a great song, in my opinion, a decent song enough, but as I said, a lot of fans are going to be upset with me because for a long time this has been a fan favourite. A lot of people really enjoy this song. It's one of the first songs that I heard from Spiritbox, but coming in at my number 10 is Holy Roller. And coming in at my number 9 is the track Halcyon. Now, as I mentioned earlier with the song Constance, I do like a good balance with the clean vocals performed by lead singer Courtney LaPlante. I like them just as much as her screaming vocals, but it's nice to have a good balance through the track list here. And to me, this is an improvement on Constance, which, as I said, also has clean vocals. But here, I just think she sings it so amazingly, and I like that the vocals are still on top of these hard-hitting instrumentals, and to me, the song even takes another step up once we reach the bridge and the outro and the screams start to come in again, and just gives the song a bit more personality and attitude. Again, we're still not quite at the heavy hitters, there's still tons of better songs in my opinion, but here we're starting to see a little bit more improvement. So coming in at my number 9 is the track Halcyon. Moving on to my number 8, and here we have the track We Live in a Strange World. Now, like the last, again, I like the clean vocals mixed with the heavier instrumentals. I think it's done so great, and of course an improvement again on top of the last pick, obviously because I have this song higher. In a way, this is a pretty simple song, but sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes the most basic, simple things are the things that you like the most, and by all means it's not an acoustic song and it's just stripped back or anything. There's still lots of elements here, but probably just looking at the track list off the top of my head, as I said, the most simple song that we have here, but it works wonders. And now we're finally getting into songs where they're starting to become less skippable and ones that I do enjoy coming back to a little bit more frequently. So coming in at my number 8 is We Live in a Strange World. The title track Eternal Blue comes in at my number 7, and now for a title track, this is one of the more underrated songs on the album. You know, this is a song that the album is named after, and yet I still don't hear a lot of people talk about this one or bring it up. It's a beautifully sung song, especially through the chorus. It's very hypnotic with its melody, and the heavier instrumentals in a way kind of take a step back. However, it's probably for the better. It gives this more mellow sort of vibe and feel, which suits the song very well, as I said, especially with the vocals again done by Courtney LaPlante. She's the lead vocalist, but again, she matches the clean and screaming vocals so well. Such a underrated song, as I said, especially for a title track. Just thinking back on it, I really do like this song. I'm starting to think it could have been a little bit higher, but I'm fine with it now. It's locked in stone. Coming in at my number 7 is Eternal Blue. Coming in at my number 6 is Secret Garden, which is actually the first song from the first 5 tracks featured on this tracklist ranking. As I mentioned in my intro, the first 5 songs on this album are really heavy hitters, but the first one to go down in this list is Secret Garden. Now again, this is another fairly popular song from the band by fans, and it's a song that did take me a while to get into, if I'm being completely honest. I just thought the lyrics were a little bit underwhelming, a little bit too simple, but over time I've come to really enjoy it. It's just really catchy and a hard-hitting chorus. I'm going to keep this one short and sharp because to me this song, it's a good effort and it's really enjoyable. As I said, grown on me over time. Number 6 is Secret Garden. So coming in at my number 5 is actually a song that has grown the most on me throughout this whole track list. Here I have Yellow Jacket, which for the longest time is a song that I thought would have worked for me on paper. You know, it has a feature from Sam Carter of Architects, which I really enjoy his vocals. It has a fast-paced, badass energy. So everything on paper I thought I would have enjoyed. This is also a very fan-favorite song. So I was kind of annoyed for the longest time that I didn't really click with this song. But as I said, the longer it went on, the more it grew on me, especially that chorus. That chorus is so fucking good. Now, as I said, it features vocals from Sam Carter of Architects. However, this is pretty much an Architects song because Courtney LaPlante takes a major step back in this one. I feel like Sam's the lead vocalist in this one by far, but by all means, he takes control of this song, takes it by the balls, and completely makes it his own. He makes it such a badass song. Obviously, there's instrumentals from the Spiritbox band, and as I said, Courtney's still featured in the vocals somewhat, but as I said, he really does make it his own. However, it just feels almost like more of an Architects track, but I'm not going to take points off it by any means for that. It's still a really good song. As I said, so happy it's grown on me. So coming in at my number 5 is Yellow Jacket. So right when you thought my top 5 was going to be the starting 5 songs, because as I said, they're probably my favourites on this list, in comes the second last song featured on this track list, being Circle With Me, coming in at my number 4. Now to me, this is such a fucking awesome, epic song. To me, if I had to choose, this would have been the song that I chose to be my closer. As I mentioned when I spoke about Constance, which is the closing track for this album, it's a good pace to close the album, but this song is just so much more epic. It feels so grand. It has this vibe about it that just makes it feel so cinematic. So to me, I would have chosen Circle With Me to close off the album, leave someone with something to remember when this album finally comes to an end. But by all means, not going to take too many points away from it for that. But again, maybe not the heaviest song, but as I said, it just has this overall grand, cool vibe, and a song that obviously I really enjoy. It's my number 4, so here I have Circle With Me. Now on to the opening track for the album, being Sunkiller, which is arguably the heaviest song here on this track list, or at least to me the most unique. Through its verses and its pre-choruses, it's sung so hauntingly, and the instrumentals suit it also so well. But then by the time we get to that heavy badass bridge and outro, where it's just screaming Sunkiller over and over, it just packs this badass vibe and gives, as I said, this song its own unique personality that separates it from every other song on this album, in my opinion, which, as I said, to me, this is the most unique track that we have here. Again, just a really cool way to open up this album. In terms of lyrics, it could be maybe a little bit simple, a little bit more stripped back, but as I said, it's more the instrumentals and the vocal performance that gives this one its unique personality to myself. So coming in at my number 3, here we have Sunkiller. Last song on this tracklist ranking that predominantly features clean vocals over screaming, here we have track number 4, The Summit, coming in as my number 2. This song is just done so well. First of all, it has this great melody and rhythm that's honestly just as much haunting and somber as being groovy, and in a way almost dance-like. Whenever I listen to this song, it kind of makes me want to just start moving and start dancing, which is crazy for a band that is in this subgenre of, heavy instrumentals and everything. It has this dance-like groove to it, but as I said, it balances well with this haunting and somber tone. Also, I can't really explain it. It's really unique, but obviously very enjoyable. Here I have it at my number 2. Overall, such a great song, and honestly, really underrated too. I'd love to see The Summit get a little bit more love. Definitely one that stood out to me from first time listening to this album, and still one I love to come back to this day. So coming in at my number 2 is The Summit. Now capping off this tracklist ranking and coming in at my number 1 is the song Hurt You. Hard-hitting song that packs so much attitude and energy through its verses, but balances out so well with this melodic and extremely addictive choruses. I can't undermine that at all. The choruses are great in this one. Lyrically also my favourite song on this album, and it also matches so well with the instrumentals, and the vocals with the instrumentals balance out so well. Maybe not quite an underrated song, definitely a fan favourite. I believe this was also a single, I could be wrong, so by all means, it's not an underrated track, it's not a deep cut or anything, but it's a good sample taste for people that want to get into Spiritbox. This is the song that I would show them. Just so addictive. Again, this is one that I've loved since first listen and still love to this day. So coming in at my number 1, taking out this tracklist ranking, here I have track number 2, Hurt You. So there we go, guys, all the way through the 12 songs featured in this tracklist ranking for the album Eternal Blue by Spiritbox. Let me know your favourite songs from this album in the comments below. Hopefully you're enjoying this series being back also, even though this is only the first episode back. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to more videos to come in the future. I spoke about this in my random album review for the same album. I used to do these once per month, but I'm probably going to do it a little bit less because that's the reason why I stopped doing it for so long. I just got a little bit burnt out. But as I said, I'm going to try and keep these videos coming because I do enjoy them. Just at a certain point, I kind of had enough with it. But as I said, I'm trying to get back on track. Again, if you want to know my thoughts on this album as a whole, check out my random album review. I'll link that in the description below if I remember. As I said, that will just give you an overview of what I think of this album as a complete effort. But again, thank you for joining me for this tracklist ranking, guys, and I'll see you for another video soon. Peace.